Welcome to the 7th episode of VSML 2009 Recaps from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Armstrong, and joining me as always is the Canadian who we ignore the benefits of so we can describe him as a burden, Logan Saunders.
Good afternoon.
And the guy who marks out his calendar on a Wednesday morning with the phrase blah 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 Belgium, David Bindley.
Good morning.
Good morning, little peek behind the curtain intro for you there, because the blah 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 Belgium quote from Dennis really made me laugh.
I mean, it's the best way to describe Europe.
Yeah, especially given our situation at the moment where I'm watching Belgium and then Vidum on a Monday, and then not having to talk about Belgium to you guys until we talk about it on Tuesday. Fun times.
We're getting towards the end point of the season. It feels like we just started this historian season. We're already on episode 7.
I know.
We are 2 more episodes after this. And then all is revealed. Will you have got a clean sweep on Annick or not? Given I think this is the week we now go down to one suspect, so it will just be Annick that you're credited for.
Annick.
Yeah.
Oh no, she goes on that final 4. I'm ruined.
And then you'll end up in an Annick panic.
Panic.
So, previously, the remaining 6 had their first episode in Jordan, where they got to ask them all questions before they raced chariots around a Roman hippodrome. After a tour around the sights of Amman, Pieter Jan's obsession with gender came back to bite him, as it was Amman who went home in the form of Sebastian. And yes, I have been waiting years to do that joke.
Yeah, it wasn't a woman who went home.
So, to recap, people won an amazing race, but lost a chariot race. Does that mean Tigers could win a fight against Phil Keoghan?
Yes, I believe it does.
Okay.
But only if he goes around their habitat on a little safari vehicle whilst trying to spray water to reveal a 4-digit code.
Okay.
Pieter Jan says that his mole went home in the form of Sebastian, so who is it now? Cautious Annick, jovial John, innocent Vivienne, Rick, or Dennis? He has no idea, and he fully admits it, as you probably should when you're wrong.
Yeah. I love that, he doesn't even bother, giving a hint to the episode. It's just like, who's the mole? I have no fucking clue.
I know we said this last week, but it's refreshing for Pieter Jan as a mole host to not know who the mole is.
Yeah.
It's very rare, because, it was a very early mole trope of the host doesn't know who the mole is, and quite infamously, Glenn didn't know who the mole was in the Canada series until he had to be a part of one of the clues and find out that it was that person. But I genuinely cannot remember any more recent examples of the host admitting that they've got no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised Pieter Jan at the start, not only did he say, my mole is gone, instead he would say, my mole is gone, and I've certainly lost my fantasy pool for this season.
Yeah, god damn it, I've lost first suspicions. I was so convinced it was him.
And then it shows his wallet, 300 euros, and then it shows the deduction during a pot drain, 200 euros. As he pays somebody off screen.
But I'd fully forgotten that Pieter Jan has no idea who the mole is this season, and he fully admits it at the start of this episode. He's just like, I have no clue anymore.
Yeah. Work it out yourselves, idiots.
Yeah, he types in people's names at the execution. Let's see. Rick is safe. Dennis is safe. Vivienne is safe. Annick is safe. Mr. Bean is safe. Pieter Jan, red screen. I just red screened myself.
Pieter Jan just held back at the stately home to type in everyone's name so he could find out if they got a green or a red screen himself.
Yeah. He gives himself a montage.
Takes himself out to the cab.
Yeah.
You've had a great experience.
But you gone.
I gone.
So it's day 10 in Jerash, and only half of them are left. Annick says it's a pity that Sebastian went home. He was always so positive. Dennis is sad he's gone, but he thinks that Sebastian was his main competitor, so it is good that he went home.
I'm going to jump in here and say, this is the earliest acceptable episode when you can do the, there aren't that many people left trope in the mole.
Yeah, when half of the people are left, it's kind of acceptable.
Yeah, then you can do it. Now, because even this season, they started doing that crap on episode 3 where they said, wow, we're really dwindling here. It's like, you've only had one person executed. Oh, it's a lot smaller.
Basically, when you get to the end of the first batch of Netflix Mole, then you can say the group's getting a bit small.
Isn't that like 80% of the season?
It was half the season, but yes.
But Netmole doesn't even eliminate that many people in the first batch, because they back end the eliminations.
Yeah, so they get rid of like 2 people in the first 5 episodes. Then you can say that the group's dwindling, and then it's just rapid fire after that. And then the group
Yeah.
is actually dwindling. So we're reminded that Dennis and Vivienne have a pact, and we're told that you're not going to sacrifice yourself for someone else, so they must have trust. And that was John who said that. And they are driven to a supermarket for the first assignment, and Pieter Jan is waiting between the fabric softeners.
It's supermarket sweep!
He wants them to buy as many products from the countries who adopted the euro first, and each correct item is worth €100, each incorrect one is worth minus €100. And they must be unique items and made in that country, and they've got a half an hour and 50 dinars to spend.
I love that they went to Jordan for this challenge that has nothing to do with Jordan, doesn't justify an intercontinental flight. Just, it's a completely stupid challenge, but it works.
I think the only reason they did it is so that they could do the gag of Dennis not being able to find any booze because it's Jordan.
He's like, why have I been sent to find liquor in a dry country? And for some reason, most of them miss the rule of only one product per country, which really screws them over here. And even more amazing is they don't know the difference between the Belgian and the German flags.
Considering, where they are in the world.
Considering they border both countries simultaneously.
And despite the fact that one of the people of the 10 in this cast is a sneaky Belgian.
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing.
I also love how they did try and sneak past a made in the EU product, which was completely unspecific. And then they were just like, yeah, we mixed up Belgium and Germany. It's basically the same place.
Yeah. One's horizontal, one's vertical. Come on. All you have to do is just tilt your head the other way, Pieter Jan, and then it counts.
How would you have gone at working out the 12 countries and finding the right products if you hadn't seen the flags?
I think I would have done all right, but also Pieter Jan deliberately did not tell them how many countries there were, which was interesting. Because I don't think they were penalised for overbuying. I think they were penalised for putting something in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Because they bought 20 items and only 7 of them actually had a status, I think. So I think you probably... I mean, half an hour is more than long enough to go through most of the aisles of a Jordanian supermarket, I suspect. So you probably look through the aisles, you see where everything was made, you take the most logical punt, at least trying to guess which countries are in the EU, which at that point would have been less than are now. And then after that, you just kind of take a wild guess. I probably would have got about 9 or 10 at least of the 12, I reckon.
Yeah. I think the best strategy here would be probably think of the countries that you know are in the EU that probably don't have too many products from them. Go and get those products first, like, sardines from Portugal or something. And then find things from the big countries like Germany and France that are going to fill out the supermarket.
It's specifically countries that adopted the euro as well.
Yeah.
So it's only the 12 countries that adopted the euro initially, I believe, rather than the probably 24, I'd guess, European Union countries at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe all 26 were in there by that point, I can't remember. Or 27. Not counted us, obviously. So Dennis tells them they can get as many items as they want, as long as they're different and made in euro countries, and Vivienne agrees with him. And they end up with 20 products in the trolley, and then they see the flags for each country, so realise it's 1 per country, which John did tell them. They don't have anything for Spain, Portugal, or Ireland, and swapped Belgium and Germany for a total of 5 right and 2 wrong, or €300 of 1,200 for the challenge.
My favorite thing was right before the start of the challenge when Mr. Bean is talking to Annick. He says, I didn't go fully for one person, but for the most part I did. So I either did really well on the quiz or I barely made it through. I'm thinking that, I think you just explained how quizzes work, Mr. Bean.
I like Dennis continuing his whole leitmotif of complaining about everything when he goes on and on and on about how expensive the diapers are.
It's like 15 out of the 30 minutes were spent on Dennis whining about diapers. It's like, if Hugo's not in your cast, why are you so worried about diapers?
In his defense, I know from working retail that nappies are ridiculously expensive. If you're on a limited budget, you don't pick nappies as your first choice from that country.
I did love at the end of the challenge, Pieter Jan comes up and he's like, "So, did you have fun shopping? Like it was like a once in a lifetime experience."
Do you think that this challenge was a filler challenge? Was this the last minute switch? Because there is not a chance in hell that they deliberately planned to take over a Jordanian supermarket, I don't think.
No, I think maybe it was a switch for something. Maybe they just wanted a challenge that took place indoors in that weather. I don't know, but I think this probably wasn't planned. But I'm happy they did it. Like it's a very fun challenge.
Especially when it's sandwiched between the ridiculously cool Riverwalk challenge and the ridiculously cool Hippodrome challenge.
Yeah.
Then leading on to the Dead Sea.
And somehow, I don't know how they were able to not make this super noticeable, but they throw in Dexter music in a supermarket sweep challenge. And they didn't even buy any plastic wrap.
Well, when you've worked in retail long enough, Saunders, you want to become a serial killer, believe me.
Yes, you do.
I genuinely cannot list some of the names that I was called when I worked in retail. There was one so offensive at like 10 o'clock at night when I was dealing with a drunk customer that he actually ended up getting barred because he was so rude to me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That was when he called me a scruffy
Kink.
That's not too offensive. I've had worse.
Yeah, not in Australia.
That's supposed to be known as a polite greeting.
Yeah, it's punctuation in Australia.
Yeah, term of endearment.
Yeah. I mean, also you kind of are, so
Yeah, I was at the time, and I was being a bit of a pain in the arse. And I closed the cigarette counter early because I couldn't be else dealing with it all because it was a pain in the arse at that point. So he was kind of in the right to insult me, but not to drop a C-bomb on me.
Yeah, offensive but accurate.
Yeah,
it's the best kind of accurate.
and I think at that point in retail, I was slowly losing the will to live as well. So I was very because I was working up till 11 o'clock at night. I was quite sarcastic with people for the last 2 hours when I was on my own and nobody was there to stop me.
Way ahead of you there.
Yeah, I was a lot more blunt with people at that time of night than at like midday, for example.
Yeah.
Imagine if he got the role of Vivienne in the name the customer at the hotel challenge. It's like, no, that's not their real name. Wait, if we're going in alphabetical order, do I go by Scruffy or by?
I think we got rid of the scruffy
Kink
last week.
I would just love it if Vivienne got her list of 25 names out and it was just really offensive nicknames for everyone.
Baldy, beardy.
Just absolutely zero filter, and it's just all capitals. Woman? Question mark.
Belgian bracket secret.
Allegedly a woman it was, wasn't it? Sorry, Saunders. I'm misrepresenting your offensive descriptions.
No, I think I put woman.
I thought you put allegedly a woman? Question mark.
I think you threw an allegedly in there because I feel like I wouldn't have put that many extra words in my notes.
Maybe I was editorializing there to get you in trouble, but
yeah.
When you do the edit for this episode, you'll have to put in like the Jimmy Kimmel unnecessary censorship for the past few minutes discussion.
I think there might end up being some very necessary censorship in that segment, to be honest.
Just a beep, beep.
Oh no, it won't be bleeps. You know what I censor things with? It's usually clips of you going, bacon and Tory spelling.
He called him, imagine if that, Jess and Cody are at the hotel. All right, there's bacon, so B, let's see, Jess, so Tory spelling, T.
I feel like it's been ages since we've had a bacon and Tory spelling censorship thing.
Yeah, I don't tend to do the censorships too much because Michelle's not been on the podcast for a while. Michelle is the most fun person to censor because she tells me off every time I do it to her. She is, I believe, the only person on the podcast who has actually had bleeped censorship because I tried to do unnecessary censorship and make it sound like she was swearing.
Yeah.
She very much told me off for that.
In a fun way or legitimately annoyed way?
Oh no, she was legitimately annoyed. She made me go back and re-edit it.
Oh, really?
I thought you knew about that, yeah.
No,
I did the
I had
jokey
no
censorship
idea.
for exactly one episode, and yeah, she told me off for it. She said I was never allowed to do that again, please, in her teacher voice.
Speaking of which, Michelle posted the upload of, I guess, the one, whoever the showrunner for Australian Survivor has quit after the past few seasons. And just the people were so stupid thinking that it was, oh, that's JLP is quitting. It's like, no, it clearly says it's the executive producer. And another person said, oh, it must be because they didn't like this past season. It's like, you have no idea why the person is stepping down.
I mean, I'm sure it's completely coincidental that they stepped down after all the accusations that Morgan put across, but especially given Endemol Shine are having a lot of fun with maths at the moment.
Between all of those accusations and then sort of past contestants coming out and saying stuff, like,
Yeah.
I think they may have been pushed.
Yeah, given that there is, I believe, still some sort of domestic violence criminal case to do with Endemol Shine Australia at the moment.
Oh,
Thanks to maths and someone punching a wall and duty of care and all that sort of stuff. I suspect that ESA are being slightly careful at the moment of any public accusations, shall we say.
yeah.
Did you see that clip on Instagram of Winna from Australian Survivor on a podcast?
Yeah, it was in our chat, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that was from the chat, yeah, where he said, yeah, they made me pick the sushi shirt after they rejected like the 10 other clothing items I submitted. Thinking, you've got to be kidding me.
I wish I could say I was surprised.
Anyways, Vidum.
So Vivienne pulls Dennis aside and wanted him to try and help her mislead Rick and Annick so they can go to the finale with John, seems though they both suspect him. And Pieter Jan tells us they're finally doing well and bonds are forming. It almost seems to be more dangerous not to have a bond at this point. They're about to find out in the heat of Jordan that ice is not just for cooling down, but also can be a burden. And it is day 11 in Wadi Mujib, and they will be exploring it. And they must reach the end before the block of ice by him melts. At the end, they will find another block, which they will have to smash within 2 minutes, and if they succeed in both, the money encased in the ice will be doubled.
The Mexico 2 cast would have been dead after about 50 meters in this challenge.
Oh yeah, couldn't sit down.
I just have images of Rianne sitting down in the least wild bit of the rapids. She's like, go on without me.
This does look like it was quite a walk, though. Like, I looked it up, just trying to work out how long it is. The suggestion I saw was it's probably about a 3-hour walk one way.
Wow.
Yeah, so, like, I'm amazed, A, that they got the ice there before it melted, and B, that they got the second ice block there without it melting, and just had it sit there for 3 hours.
Or maybe they waited until they were like right there and then hang it up.
Yeah, surely it was only a section of that river walk, because that is far too long in the heat of Jordan, I suspect.
Yeah.
But also, we say this a lot about certain challenges and why they're so good. This could not be done anywhere else in the world. This was a legitimately cool challenge.
Like, it's maybe not the most exciting challenge, because really there's not a lot of challenge to the challenge. But it's such a cool location that you don't care.
Yeah.
And I could watch Rick falling down over and over again on a repeated loop. He bailed hard, like completely fell on his back trying to go up that one slope.
Well, it's legitimately difficult in parts to do that walk. They did not hold back for the celebs doing this.
No.
They made them walk up against very fast flowing rapids with a block of ice between them. It's a legitimate challenge, this. But also, it's one of the few challenges in Vidum where I watch it and I just go, bloody hell, this looks like really good fun to do.
Yeah. And I love that they didn't tell any of them that this is what the challenge was going to be, because they basically all turn up in jeans.
Yeah, and proper trainers that will never dry again, even in the heat.
Yeah.
And that would have been just deeply, deeply horrible to do, I think. So they reach a wilder bit of the river and some waterfalls, and Rick helpfully tells us that if ice touches water, it melts faster.
Fascinating.
It's like Bill Nye.
John says he wonders if Dennis is stronger than he pretends to be. Is he downplaying his strength? He says that the girls didn't really do much, and neither did Rick. Annick falls behind and Vivienne goes to help her forward, as soon as someone reaches the finish line, the 2 minute starts. And Vivienne spots that people keep leaving the ice on rocks where it's breaking, and it's mainly Rick and John doing it. And she also caught John hitting the block on a rock twice.
And they are ferocious with breaking that ice block.
Yeah.
Like Annick says, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to break the ice block in such a devastating fashion that you will completely lose track of where the 500 euro note lands.
Yeah, because they were doing it over a fast flowing bit of the water.
Yeah.
Under a
Yeah.
waterfall. It's so dumb, because that's why you have 2 minutes to do it. You obviously don't go anywhere near the fast flowing bit. You probably hold it under the waterfall and then just have someone waiting to catch it. You don't start throwing it at rocks and hope you can find the money afterwards, because that's dumb.
Rick, smash.
So they do smash the blocks above the water, so the money threatens to sail away. And after a trip back through the rapids, they find Pieter Jan, who confirms that they found 1,000 euros worth of notes, doubling to 2,000 euros of 2,000 for the challenge. And he also asks them if they're up for a party.
I think my favourite part of this is, like, he asks them if they're up for a party, and then the party doesn't happen until the next day.
Yeah. So they were all excited for 24 hours going, oh, we get to have a party tomorrow. And then it turns out, no, you don't. We've just got 24 hours to find 25 willing victims.
Yeah, it's just Pieter Jan hold outside on the side of the road near the hotel, just holding up a sign. Free dinner. Pull over if you want a free dinner.
I do think it's interesting with this party challenge that they never really let on whereabouts the hotel is. Obviously, it's on the Dead Sea somewhere, but it looks nothing like the hotels that we saw, presumably, given that we think we went to the same place, Saunders, on the other side of the Dead Sea.
Yeah. I was also surprised when we see them in the Dead Sea. A lot of them are on their stomachs, which is like the number one thing not to do if you're in the Dead Sea.
Yeah, because assuming you went to the same bit of the Dead Sea that I did, there's loads of luxury hotels on that strip anyway. But there's only certain areas of beach you're allowed to go on for each hotel. And there are a lot of rules. Because the salt is that high concentration in that area that it genuinely hurts if you have any cuts on your body. You have to be really careful not to scrape your feet on the bottom of it, because you will, and it'll hurt like an absolute bitch.
Oh.
You have to not go on your front, as Saunders says, because it's very hard to roll yourself back over and you will drown or suffocate, because you can't really drown in Dead Sea water. It's legitimately really interesting to do, but also there's a fuck ton of rules associated with it.
Yeah, and you can't have any heart condition too if you're going in the Dead Sea.
And you basically have to shower off straight afterwards, because you will never, ever, ever get the salt off any of your clothing items or your skin if you don't shower off straight after.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there's been cases of tourists dying in the Dead Sea because they ingested too much of the water, and it doesn't take much for it to be a fatal dose. Like when I was there was one guy who I think missed out the lecture on all the rules as well as all of the signage, and he sprinted into the water face first, and within seconds he was just screaming out in pain, and they were having to help him out and try to flush out his eyes and everything, because everyone just gasped when they saw how fast he was running in the water, and like the lifeguards immediately jumped out even before the guy was even really submerged.
This has been another edition of Logan Saunders' Happy Fun Time.
Yeah. And there was another woman there where I think someone just happened to splash the water a little bit when kicking, and the water just, I think only a couple drops splashed into her eyes, and she was immediately burning up and getting out of the water and flushing her eyes. Like, it doesn't take much. So I was very surprised in this episode to see them on their stomachs, because I think two out of the 5 of them were on their stomachs in the Dead Sea, and I was thinking, did they not tell them not to do that?
Well, I presume that if you looked at that hotel now, it probably is all cordoned off areas and lifeguards and stuff like it was on the Israel side. But it's just very interesting to see it from a 2008-2009 perspective going, shit in hell, they didn't have much protection there. They weren't given any instructions. Because
No.
the bit of the hotel that we went to for the afternoon, they had their own like private jetty into the Dead Sea and stuff. But even on the kind of slope down into the Dead Sea that you're supposed to walk along and hold the handrail so that you don't slip and absolutely knacker yourself, that was crusted with salt. So it was like walking on a bed of nails basically just to get into the Dead Sea.
Oh.
And that's the only way you're meant to get in, because you've got to be really careful not to slip and scratch yourself basically, and it'll hurt like an absolute motherfucker if you do. It was, as I said last week, a really, really fun trip, though. Masada in the Dead Sea is one of the coolest days that I've had. And then I followed it up by going around Old Town Jerusalem the next day. Super, super cool. So they are driven to the Dead Sea and a hotel for lunch. Everyone's threatened by Dennis and Vivienne's bond. And Rick says it's suspicious that Dennis threw the ice. He thought that John might try something, but he didn't. And Annick didn't do anything suspicious when she had the ice, albeit briefly. So his suspicions have changed. And after lunch, they go swimming / floating in the Dead Sea. And as I said, it looks a touch less organised than when I did it. Annick says that it's getting quiet in the group. No one wants to talk and she wants to win. Vivienne's worried that she's going to get distracted by the little things that other candidates do. Now the group is so small. And then it is day 12 and time for their final challenge of the episode. Pieter Jan says he promised them a party, but they are not the guests. And he's looking for one host or hostess from the group and 4 waiters. And Annick is volunteered as the best hostess as a group, as she has hospitality experience.
I like that she's like, yes, I've got experience working in hospitality, but I've never been a manager, and that'll be even harder with this bunch of clowns.
Yeah, and also she very much proves she's never been a manager when we see her performance in this challenge.
Yes.
There are 25 guests who are expecting a 5-star experience, but they must get to know them better to earn the money for the challenge. And they all go into hotel rooms and find staff uniforms waiting for them.
I like the twist that all 25 guests happen to be Facebook friends with Vivienne before the season even started filming.
Can we say how you described this challenge to me earlier, Bindles? Because it really tickled me.
Sure.
Bindle sent me a message this morning saying that he'd watched this episode and it was very amusing to see Vivienne autism her way through this challenge.
It was very impressive. Like, Vivienne is insanely skilled at getting to know complete strangers very quickly. And it gives you insight into why she's probably made such a deep run in this season as well.
Yeah, I think Vivienne is a very early example of genre savvy for Vidum, in that she knew what sort of a challenge they were going to inevitably make them do here. So she got ahead of it by just making a note of everyone's names and where they were sat at the table and all their relationships and literally everything that production can ask them to do in this challenge.
Yeah, because with a lot of these players, it's just, oh, I'm such a fan of Vidum. I know there'll be a luggage challenge, a laser game, but Vivienne takes it one step further. Of okay, it's one thing to know what challenges to anticipate, but it's another to know how to break them or succeed at them right from the get go. And she was thinking like a producer during this challenge and anticipated what they would be tested on and how to succeed at it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Bindles, but is this the last time that they do this sort of a challenge until they do it in Mexico too?
Wasn't it in the Dominican Republic season? Didn't they do a variation of it?
They did the restaurant service challenge, but there wasn't really. No, there was the party in Sri Lanka.
Oh yeah, good point.
There's one challenge. I'm going to be vague here because Logan hasn't seen it, where it's basically you're having a party with 75 people, go and get to know everybody, and then at the end of the party, the challenge is, okay, all these people have to go home now. You have to give them the gift bags that we've marked with their names. Just make sure everybody gets the right name. And there's 75 people to do this with. And I think it's if you get 50, you get €1,000 or it's 65 or whatever. But I think this one is a little bit more fun because this one, they're actually doing something as a distraction in the meantime.
Yeah, my point here was that Vivienne basically breaks this challenge for years to come because she's just too good at it. She absolutely just steamrolls through this challenge and goes, yeah, you can throw whatever you want at me. I'm going to get it right.
I even know their social security numbers.
Yeah, multiple people are trying to sabotage this challenge. But really, the only thing that stops them getting a perfect score is Annick misspelling somebody's name on their name tag.
Yeah.
Vivienne is very impressive in this challenge. And honestly, in a lot of the season, I think she's probably one of the smartest people they've ever put on this show.
Yeah, this is a tour de force. I'd forgotten that she does this in this challenge.
Hmm.
There's so much of this season that I'd forgotten, to be perfectly honest, and like it's really fun on a rewatch.
Yeah, like it's one of those seasons where I think a lot of the things you remember about this season are the challenges being cool, like the chariot race, running up the gorge, things like the Ferris wheel, or like those sort of things. You don't really remember many of the characters so much because it's one of those seasons that's like all challenges all the time, and a lot of the challenges are okay. Here's one simple idea. Let's see how far we can push it, and maybe the mole will sabotage, maybe they won't. Rather than okay, here's a challenge with 27 layers. The mole is going to sabotage this one in this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. I think it's sort of an interesting contrast to Belgium at the moment, where Belgium, as good as it is, a lot of those challenges probably could stand to be a little bit less complicated. Where this, I think, a lot of the challenges probably need another layer, and that's what's preventing them from being as memorable as some of the stuff we get in El Salvador and Japan and Hong Kong, Philippines. I think they're on the right way, and you can sort of see how Japan happened as a reaction to this, in the same way that South Africa and Argentina are a pair in Belgium. But I think this is a very good season for what it is.
Yeah, I think we'll probably discuss this more in a couple of weeks, but it's noticeable for me on a rewatch how whistle stop this season is.
Yeah.
Like they are this episode and last week, I think, were both exactly 50 minutes. And they're
Hmm.
doing 3 challenges and character moments and everything else. And Pieter Jan doing 2 speeches per episode and the test and execution. And it's so crammed full, but it doesn't really get a chance to breathe a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I don't remember when they switched to from 50 minutes to a full hour. I can't remember whether it's Japan or El Salvador, even like a little bit further.
I think it's later than that. I think it's after it goes off Thursdays.
Oh,
So I think it's kind of Hong Kong, Philippines time was when they start properly expanding it.
hmm. Yeah, it's weird because like Japan, even though the challenges in Japan are more complicated than this season, and I think you sort of get to understand the challenges a bit better, and you get to see the cast a bit more. So I don't know necessarily what changed in between the two seasons that sort of makes this one less like feel less cohesive, I guess would be the right way to put it.
Yeah. I'll also say on the Belkia point, the challenges this week, just to date it slightly, are slightly less complicated. They're more Belkia pacing.
Oh, good.
Anything you want to say about this challenge, Saunders?
Just that, yeah, the how Vivian absolutely carries this challenge, and I like how after they had earned what was it, the 850 euros for putting almost everybody in the correct order, that then in production throws in the twist of okay, if you can group them correctly based on who they are here with and how they know each other, then we'll double it. But if you're wrong, we're going to take that doubled amount out of the pot just as a way to tempt the group into. I'm sure production was thinking if they go for this, they are guaranteed to lose 1,700 euros. And then you have Vivian saying, you know what? I think I can beat production at this, even with the trap they've set up. And sure enough, she does. And I'm just picturing production in the back room saying, how did they do this? How did we go from having somebody remove 6,000 euros from the pot to restoring those 6,000 euros and then adding this additional 1,700 euros? And all of our plans are being foiled.
It's quite noticeable. By the end of this episode, they have earned pretty much more than you can earn as a maximum in any of the modern Venom seasons now.
Hmm.
I want to say by the end of this episode, their current pot total is higher than the last two flagship seasons combined, right?
Yeah, but both of the last 2 seasons were below 9 grand.
Yeah. So that really puts in perspective right there. And we still got 2 more episodes to go for them to earn even more money.
this part is actually almost as much as Renaissance and Cambodia combined.
Wow.
And Renaissance is by far the most of any of the Rick era.
I love that Vivienne in particular does so well at this challenge when during the challenge we learn that she's never seen or heard of Tabbouleh before.
Well, that's also something that I think probably would have changed had they done this challenge now.
Yeah.
In that, certainly the hotel that I had lunch at when I went to the other side of the Dead Sea, that was deliberately a buffet, very international food. You basically just pick what you want. I'm not sure that these people who sat down for this meal had any choice of what they were getting served.
No.
I have a gluten allergy.
I think the choice was take it or leave it.
Yeah. I think if they did this challenge now, it probably would have been copied by Netmall.
Oh God, can you imagine?
I know, and then it wouldn't have worked because number one, the joke here is these contestants aren't suited to be waiters, and most American reality show casts are failed waiters trying to launch failed, acting careers. And number two, they would spend the entire time expecting to get tips at the end.
They would they would have taken over a Jordanian coffee shop, thank you very much, and relied upon the mole's experience as a barista in their former life.
You only tipped 15%. It's supposed to be 18% by current standards.
It's a minimum of 50% in this establishment.
It's like I'm paying for your meal.
Yeah. This service is so bad, neither of you are going to get to stay at the spa, Vivienne and Annick.
I love how that was just a casual aside. Like Annick's playing for her own mental prize of a stay at the spa.
I have no idea how that happened.
But it's never mentioned again. It's just one
No.
quick aside of Vivienne going, "Yeah, Annick just wants to get the prize as being the best server, just in case there is a prize of staying at the hotel because it's nice."
Wait, she's like, wait, we're actually playing for money in this challenge? And I like how, this also would not be allowed on American TV where the waiters and waitresses are doing shots with the guests.
Oh no, this is exactly why it would be on American TV.
No, they wouldn't be allowed to encourage alcohol consumption on American TV.
No.
Oof. Do you not remember when Amazing Race went to Germany and made them drink non-alcoholic beer? Like that's actually a thing in Germany.
Yeah.
I think they had to import that from the States.
Yeah. I mean, all jokes aside, I genuinely don't think it's that easy to get non-alcoholic beer in Germany. I think if you asked for that in a bar in Germany, they would go, "What are you on about? We don't do that here."
They would deport you to El Salvador.
They would do the Coyote Ugly thing and just sort of shout at get everyone in the bar to shout at you.
Yeah. The piano would stop being played. Just everyone would turn and look.
Record scratch? What?
I think my favourite bit about the tequila shot thing is like Rick's entire section of this challenge is told via him narrating in a confessional after the fact, which feels like a perfect encapsulation of his time in the season. Right up until he decides to do the shots with the guests, and then it's instead told by Dennis giving yet another 1-star review.
Yeah, I think we can now say this. Rick, especially as a fifth placer, which is usually someone impressive, someone important to the season, he is not in this season much.
No, he's Purple Rick.
Yeah. Like, Sebastian, who goes home in sixth, is a way bigger presence. The entirety of the final four are a way bigger presence.
Yeah.
And most of this episode is just, apart from arguably the Waddy challenge where Rick has like half of the confessionals noticeably, Rick is not in this season much at all.
Yeah, even Paula, I think even Paula is more memorable than Rick. And like as we're talking about this season, we have a lot of observations about Rick, but after we're done podcasting about this, I don't think I'm going to remember much about him other than, oh yeah, he was Mr. Bean's side Rick.
Yeah. Like, even Hans is more memorable than Rick.
Yeah, he's somehow only the second least memorable Rick in Vidum, but that's another story. Unfortunately, the other one is hosting now, but...
Well, third least memorable then, because then there was one in Colombia, was it?
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Rick Paul?
He was memorable. He had good reactions. He got a banner off me.
I remember Rick Paul a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's more memorable than this Rick.
Oh, yeah.
Who looks like every late 2000s dad trying to fit in with his children. So Pieter Jan then talks to the group of 25 and asks them to stand in line and remove their name tags. To earn money, the group must place them alphabetically by name. The longest correct sequence is worth €50 per name, and they've got 10 minutes to form their sequence.
Do you think Pieter Jan is less comfortable in English than Rick?
No, he was way more comfortable than Rick is. I think Rick's now more comfortable in English, but certainly in terms of how little we normally hear Pieter Jan speak English, I think he's probably a little bit more comfortable in English than Rick was.
They need one Vidum host who is just really, really shaky and really nervous speaking English. That would be hilarious.
I think Pieter Jan spoke English at the hookah place as well, from memory.
Yeah.
It's not out in the bar with the barmaid flirting
No.
with her, but
Like, he does speak English fairly well, but like you can tell he's sort of a different generation where it's maybe not taught as well in schools.
yeah.
But then also he did have to raise Sam Hagen, so he's probably used to hearing people swear at him in 7 different languages.
Yeah, good point. I think his nervousness at this point in the challenge was probably more he only gets one take really to do that speech, and he has to be word perfect to all these people from various different nationalities. So he needs to
Yeah.
make sure that he comes across to all of these people who don't necessarily speak English as a first language either.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because he did seem fairly confident in the hooker place speaking English.
Yeah, and I think from memory he was really confident in that tourist challenge in Nicaragua.
Yeah, I think it was probably more the audience that was making him nervous than the ability to speak English.
Yeah. Okay.
So as you said, Vivienne breaks the challenge by making a list beforehand, but the first 3 end up being wrong thanks to Annick's name tag skills. They get a 17-person sequence and €850, and then get an offer. They can double it by matching people up by relationship. If they do it correctly, it's €1,700, and if they don't do it correctly, then it's minus €1,700.
You know what's interesting here? We've gone from 25 people at the start of the challenge to 24 guests showing up and getting fed to only 20 people in the line. Like, did people just like disappear at some point? Or was it always going to be 20 people and they've just like overstated or something? It's odd.
I don't know, because that's never really addressed.
They went into the Dead Sea.
Yeah, they floated face down in the Dead Sea and were never seen again.
I like how Vivienne apparently Dennis in his confessional in a very Sebastian way. How he says, "Oh yeah, I winked at Vivienne to screw up the bonus round." I'm like, yeah, maybe Vivienne didn't see you wink, Dennis.
And she is convinced that she can do it. Dennis gives her a wink to mess it up, but she does it within 3 minutes perfectly for a total of €1,700 of 2,000 for the challenge, €4,000 of 5,200 for the episode, and €20,300 of 78,950 for the season so far.
I wish they would have aired the next bonus round that Pieter Jan offered, where he says, okay, if you can tell me where each person went to elementary school, high school, and university, and the town they were born in, I'll double it up to €3,400. Otherwise, we remove €3,400 from the pot. And Vivienne says, oh yeah, I know that too.
Like, it's very impressive, but it's the sort of thing that if you're not Logan Saunders would completely rule somebody out of suspicion.
Yeah. So Dennis says that if this was day 1, you'd never suspect John, but he feels them closing in. And Vivienne tells Dennis that she basically couldn't help but show off when given an opportunity.
Too much pride.
Yeah. It is now time for the test. 20 questions about the identity and actions of the mole who have no sleeves goes home except for the mole who can never go home. Dennis says that John wanted to take the challenge with Vivienne to cover his ass. Vivienne isn't clear about her suspects. She'd rather suspect Rick than Annick. He was more actively damaging, but she also still suspects John. Rick says he didn't get any confirmation from anyone. It makes it harder. He's following his instincts. John says Annick comes up most in his mole book, but Dennis is so hard to follow. Sometimes he wins money, sometimes he spends it. His behaviour in the restaurant was weird. Annick says she's still on John. He struggled with the ice challenge, which could have been an act. It was a heavy block of ice, but it was not exhausting. Pieter Jan tells them that they're going to visit some world wonders in Jordan, but one of them won't be coming along. Rick volunteers for the first screen, and it's an instant red. And we also, more importantly, see on the screen that you can now buy the 9-year celebration DVD of Vidum.
I didn't know that too.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying about the weird first challenge last episode. Like, it felt like they were trying to celebrate 9 like it was a milestone, but it's not. 10 is a milestone. 9 is just a weird thing to celebrate.
What's funny is that when they were showing them all take the quiz, how everyone's suspect is mentioned except for Rick. And I even put in my notes, Rick didn't get confirmation from anybody. He's just following his instincts. Rick is going. Because everyone else points to a specific suspect. It's like, well, I guess I know who's being executed this round.
Like, even his exit montage, like with other people like Sebastian, it was shots of him doing things in different challenges. Rick's is basically him being confused in a whole bunch of different environments.
And his reaction to smoking shisha.
Which arguably is something that we do need to be reminded of because it was hilarious at the time as well.
It should have just been going back and forth between that and him falling backwards in the ice block challenge. It should have just been those two. It should have been just those two clips repeatedly.
I don't think him falling over was in his montage, was it, in the end?
No, but it should have been.
But I did note when I was watching it, I'm like, Saunders will be all over this. He'll love the fact that Rick fell over.
I mean, he just completely bails.
And Pieter Jan sticks the knife in a little bit more by saying that he was wrong, very wrong. He says he went for one person too much, and he's glad he got to do the show.
Yeah. Yeah, Pieter Jan just says, yeah, you were even more wrong than I was about Sebastian.
Yeah. I had a chance to change, and you didn't. So next time, there is a train ride, balloons, a visit to Petra, a rather infamous visit to Petra at that, lasers, and they interrogate each other once more.
A third time? A third interrogation?
Yep.
Completely unnecessary.
Yep.
So, final 2 questions of the episode. Who do you suspect, Saunders, and who do you think is not going to make the final 3?
Let's see, my suspect list was Annick, then it was Rick, then Vivienne, Dennis, Mr. Bean. Guess I could have swapped the other 3 are just Annick is just who I suspect the most, just far and away at this point. And I think Dennis will be executed next.
Interesting. And who's your sneaky Belgian as well?
I think it's still Vivienne. I think Flemish people remember names better than Dutch people do.
Cool. Have we eulogized Rick as well? I just kind of skipped over it because he's so boring.
Yeah.
He gone?
He dead, see?
Yeah.
He dead, see?
It is not nice to send him out with a C-bomb, Bindles.
Yeah, he fell face first in the Dead Sea, see?
You take that comma back. Anything else you want to say about this episode before I have to edit out more C-bombs?
It good.
Right. I'm calling this now. Thank you for listening to our Beast of World 2009 recap. We'll be back next week to continue the hunt for an old mole in Northern Ireland and Jordan. Don't forget you can contact us on pretty much every social media platform that isn't TikTok, where we are RTV Warriors. You can email us and contact us at rtvwarriors.com. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/rtvwarriors and get early access to the rest of the episodes of the season. Thank you as always to Marika for the subtitles, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out and just chill till the next flavoring.
Wet and salty? You shouldn't have.
I'll be honest, I was fully expecting you to drop another C-bomb there, so I couldn't edit it out.
Kink.